Okay, trying something new this year. I have never done a list like this since I've started YouTube. Obviously, welcome back to My Loves Death Metal, but we're not talking about death metal today or black metal. I've already released those top lists of 2024, so go ahead and check them out. I'll link them in the description. But I decided to do a heavy metal, power metal, thrash metal that's not death metal or black metal. List this year because I got into power metal this year, a genre of metal music I didn't think I'd ever get into, and I've been listening to a lot of heavy metal as well, listening to newer releases within heavy metal, which I don't do a whole lot either, because I mostly just stick to the older classics when it comes to the heavy metal music. But a lot of those older classic bands released new albums this year that were really, really good. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm doing a top 15, I guess you could say. The first five are, I guess you could say, honorable mentions, but I'm still ranking them. My 10 is my 10, but I figured I'd throw five more in because there was a lot of albums that I really enjoyed this year. So the first one is the band Ironflame with Kingdom Torn Asunder on High Roller Records. This is their fifth full-length album. And this is a relatively new band for me. I was just scouring Bandcamp this year in the heavy metal section, looking for some new albums to listen to, and I clicked with this right away. It's got really catchy, heavy power metal riffs, just incredible guitar work. I love the vocal style of this album. It just really takes me back to some of that older school heavy metal music that I absolutely love. So this is a very, very good album. If you're not familiar with Ironflame, definitely check this band out. I believe they're from the U.S., and I need to go back and get their other albums because I really, really, really enjoyed this. So Kingdom Torn Asunder. Also, my kids, if you guys know me, you're watching me, you know who I am for the most part. My kids are home on Christmas break, and so the whole family is home, and so you're going to hear all sorts of things in the background of dogs barking and kids screaming because they're probably playing the PlayStation right now. So enjoy that. Number 14 is Riot Mean Streets. This is their 17th full-length album on Atomic Fire. This is admittedly a band that I haven't really gotten too much into over the course of their very long career within the heavy power metal scene. But this is a very good album. Admittedly got me into them a little bit more, and I'm going back now and pulling their discography and listening to other albums. This is just awesome riffs, high falsetto singing at times, just, that very super epic sounding heavy power metal. Just a very good and catchy album. The album cover is something special there. I believe that is a panda. I think it's a panda. I don't remember. We did a stream with Heavy Metallurgy for our favorite albums of the year, and Sue talked about this album on there, and they talked in depth about the album cover and the animals and stuff like that. So again, kind of a goofy album cover, but a very, very good album. I've been listening to this a ton, to the point of where I just eventually finally picked up the CD. But again, there's 16 other full-length albums that I need to go back and listen to and really dive into. So this is a band that I will be focusing on getting the discography 2025, at least picking up some albums that I've enjoyed and listened to. So you'll probably be seeing this band quite a bit more on this channel. At number 13, this needs absolutely no introduction. The band Accept with their 17th full-length album, Humanoid, on Napalm Records. Again, classic band here. Accept is back. They're making another fantastic album. I really, really like this album. As soon as I heard it, I was really into it. Just so many great songs on here. Just, again, they're incredible. One of my all-time favorite metal bands out there. I have so many of their albums on CD, and admittedly, there's a few of the newer albums in the past several years that I have not picked up. But again, I really, really enjoyed this. So I don't think this needs any introduction. Everybody knows Accept. So there you go. At number 12 is also a new band for me, Unleash the Archers with Phantoma. So yeah, this is their sixth full-length album on Napalm Records. Yet again, this is a power metal band that is female-fronted. I think she goes by the name Brittany Slays. I can't remember her actual last name. phenomenal. Marty over at Heavy Metallurgy is the reason why I started listening to this band. I think it was just like a referral, like, hey, if you like this band, you'll probably really like Unleash the Archers. Admittedly, in the past, I've considered it to be pretty nerdy and avoided it from what I had heard or seen about it. Just definitely had the wrong impression on this. But yeah, I love this album. I think she has a phenomenal voice, super fun, super catchy. And this came out relatively earlier in the year. I feel like it kind of has skated under the radar for a while there. I think maybe some people may have forgotten about it, but I do really love this album. I love their last album that they released too. I picked that up, and I'm working my way back in their discography of listening to their other stuff. So Unleash the Archers with Phantoma, I believe that's how you say it. Awesome stuff. Number 11 is another new band for me. Admittedly, I became a little bit obsessed with this band after hearing this album. I got the promo for it, and I was already listening to a couple of other power metal bands, so I picked this up. I listened to this promo and immediately was hooked on it, and that is Powerwolf with Wake Up the Wicked. This is also on Napalm Records. There's a lot of Napalm Records releases in this list today. Their 10th full-length album. I love the song. I love how theatrical it is. I love his voice. They are so awesome live, by the way. Was able to catch a show this year. And yeah, everything about this is so much fun. I just love the overall, like, nerdiness, cheesiness of this. Again, I really love how theatrical it is. Just incredible voice. Super fun album, super catchy. I find that I sing Viva Vulgata all the time. It's always stuck in my head. Probably my favorite song on this album, and one of the more cheesier ones, but Bless Him with the Blade is the album opener. Just that was so catchy and got right into me. Clenched its claws right into me as soon as I heard that song. So Powerwolf, Wake Up the Wicked. I did go back and buy about 6 of their other albums. They have several that I really, really enjoyed. Still working through this discography, but this band is probably one of my newer favorite bands right now. New in the sense that they're new to me, but I know they've been around for a very long time. So awesome stuff. All right, we're getting into the top 10 now. Some of these were a little bit borderline for this list, but we're going with it. We're going with it. Number 10 is Vicious Blade with Relentless Force on Redefining Darkness. This is their first full-length album, another female-fronted thrash metal band. I believe her name is Clarissa. Just a very good modern thrash album. Super catchy riff. She has an incredible thrashy voice. It just fits perfectly. Thrash metal has been relatively a dead genre for me when it comes to modern thrash. It's not something that I follow a whole lot. Unfortunately, I am very stuck in my old ways of listening to the older thrash metal bands and just picking up reissues of that and stuff like that. But this year I made myself go and check out some new bands, and I was a huge fan of this album. So, and I've seen this circling the rounds of the vinyl community in regards to the heavy metal thrash community on here, and a lot of people have been talking about this album, so that makes me happy. So number 10, Vicious Blade, Relentless Force. Check this out. Again, everything is going to be in the description. I'm not going to hide or anything like that. I'll put all the Bandcamp links in the description so you can go check out these releases. At number 9, so this is borderline. Some people probably would be nitpicky and say this should have gone into my death metal list, but this is way more speed thrash than anything. And yes, there's a little bit of death metal elements into it, but this is Oxygen Destroyer with Guardian of the Universe, another Redefining Darkness release. Fucking incredible album. This band is so fun, and as you can see, it's got like the Godzilla themed. I think that's a giant turtle, actually, now that I think about it. But in their past releases, there's that style of music, and there's those like movie clips and stuff like that. This is their third full length album, and this is just such a fun, catchy, fast, not blackened. Well, I guess a little bit of blackened, but just deathy, thrashy, very thrashy though, and speed element album. So again, due to the thrashiness and the speedy elements and stuff like that, yes, there's some other style of metal genres, but this is mostly a thrash album to me. I put it on this list, so some people might not enjoy that, but this definitely is not a death metal album, and definitely is not a black metal album, so it didn't have any place going there, so it went here. So fantastic album, Oxygen Destroyer. Check this out, Guardian of the Universe. Alright, the next one is another new band that I became obsessed with this year after listening to Powerwolf. It was a suggestion in my Apple Music to listen to them, and that is Windrose with Troll Slayer. This is their 6th full-length album, again on Napalm Records, and this is your dwarven metal, your J.R.R. Tolkien themed dwarven metal, very cheesy, goofy ass band, to be honest with you, but super catchy, and I really got into it. I love all of their other albums. I actually bought all of the other 5 albums, and have been playing them a ton. And this album is super fun. I would say it's got that medieval style of music incorporated into here. Definitely that power metal elements as well, with like, you just feel like you're back in the Tolkien era with the hobbits and the dwarves hanging out in a pub drinking, and that's essentially what this makes you feel like. So Windrose with Troll Slayer, again, another band that I didn't think I'd ever get into, but I absolutely love this band, and this is at number 8. Alright, the next one is one that I've actually got referred to a bunch and absolutely fell in love with it. This is number 7 with Helvetets Port. Helvets. I googled how to say it, and I still screwed it up with Warlords. The band is from Sweden, so I believe that's a Swedish way of saying it. Their 3rd full-length album, and this is on High Roller Records. This is just really straightforward, that heavy metal sounding album. It reminds me a little bit of Saxon. It reminds me some of the earlier Saxon albums. Just awesome. You would feel like this is an 80s metal album. Like, it does not feel like a 2024 album at all. Super catchy, awesome album. I've been seeing this all over on people's year-end lists, so it makes me really happy. I need to go back and check out their other albums. I was not too familiar with them, but I picked this up as soon as I was able to see it in a US distro here. I've just been spinning this a ton. Absolutely love this album. So Helvetets Port, I'm butchering it, at number 7. Number 5, we're at the top. Oh no, sorry, number 6, I can't count, is Rage with After Lifelines on Steamhammer. Right? Steamhammer? Yeah. So, yeah, Rage has been around forever. This is their 26th full-length album, and this album is simply phenomenal. I feel like I don't need to talk much about this band. If you're into this style of music, you know who Rage are. I was actually pretty familiar with them. I have about 2 other albums that I've listened to recently that I'm probably going to buy, but 26 albums is a lot to dive into. Immediately a band that I haven't paid too much attention to over the years, but this album caught my attention immediately as soon as I heard it. Again, it was another suggestion in my Apple Music after listening to some of these albums. It popped up and I listened to it, and I really, really enjoyed it. So super catchy, awesome album. I love the first, I love the instrumental track in the beginning, the very first song. Just really, like, it was like, oh, this is good. What is this? And then End of Illusion starts, and you're like, oh, all right. So it's just an awesome album. These guys are still making all great music after all these years and all these albums, and this is just yeah, it's such a good album. So Rage with After Lifelines is my number 6. Number 5 is Vultures Sentinels on Metal Blade Records. This is their 4th full-length album. Their speed thrash metal band. This is very much just so good. I honestly, if you ask me a couple of months from now, this might actually be my number 1 album. I've been spinning this so much. I actually have not talked about this on this channel at all. But in regards to that old school, like 80s thrashy style of elements, just it's there. I really, really love that style of thrash metal, and they just are doing it so well. And this album is just awesome. I mean, look at that. Yeah. So just really, really love this album. It has to be the way it's meant to be. The hype sticker says thrash metal the way it was meant to be. That's simply just what I believe. This is a style of thrash metal that I absolutely love. So I don't think I need to talk too much further about this. I've seen this a lot around on the YouTube community. I've seen it around just as a whole, people praising it and talking about it all year round. But I finally snagged the record a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't listened to this digitally so long. It is such a great album. So number 5, Vultures, Sentinels. All right, number 4 is probably absolutely no surprise to anybody who knows me, is Hammerfall with Avenge the Fallen, their 13th full-length album on Nuclear Blast. I did a review for this over on Heavy Metallurgy. This was my introduction into more of the heavy power metal style of music, although I feel like this is more heavy metal, and I think this band does not like to be associated with power metal, but they often get lumped into that, and this is one of those cases where it came up in my promos and people were calling it power metal, but when I got into it, I was like, this is just awesome heavy metal. I'm so hooked on this album. In fact, I got so hooked on this album that I went back and I bought about 8 or 9 of their other albums. So this is easily one of my newer favorite bands, even though they've been around forever, that I've been listening to. And this album is so good. There's definitely cheesy elements to it, and I talk about that in my review. But it just amps me up and makes me so happy. And I really, really, really love this album. So it would go higher, but there's a couple of other albums here that just unfortunately took the higher place here. But again, awesome album. Definitely check this out. And a lot of people say it's just Hammerfall sounding Hammerfall. And going back and listening to their past albums, I agree. Like, it definitely just is Hammerfall. They're not reinventing the wheel for the most part. But again, I still think it's a very good album and one of my favorites in discography because I'm biased and it's the first one I ever heard. So, Hammerfall, Avenge the Fallen at number 4. Number 3, again, really had no place in my death metal or black metal list, because this is definitely thrash. Like, it's blackened thrash, but it is thrash, and that is Mayhemic with Toba, their first full-length album. It's a blackened thrash metal band out of Chile, but this is simply phenomenal. And I've been hooked on this ever since I heard it on Sepulchral Voice Records. It's got just amazing production, just blistering riffs, and then that blackened style, thrashy metal vocal style. Again, didn't feel right to go on my black metal list because it's not straightforward black metal. It's definitely more, it's thrash metal with those blackened elements, and it did not fit on the death metal list, so I figured it's going here because I need to talk about this, and I absolutely love this album. This has definitely been one of my all-time favorite releases this year. Simply awesome. So if you're looking more for that blackened thrash style, if you don't mind it to be a little bit of a darker thrash sound, definitely check this out. It is so, so good. Mayhemic with Toba at number 3. Number 2 is another one that definitely had no place going anywhere except for on this list, and that is Neon Nightmare with Faded Dream. This is Nate Garrett's side project from... He announced this on Halloween that it was actually him. It was anonymous for a while when it first came out. This is out on $20 Spin. And this is your standard Typo Negative goth rock. It sounds just like Typo Negative, and he says like he's basically paying homage to the band. I'm a huge Typo Negative fan. I absolutely love them. So I immediately fell in love with this album to the point of where for a while there I was considering this to be my all-time favorite album of the year. However, I think the next one probably is, for the most part, in regards to how many times I've listened to it this year. But yeah, this album is so good. I love this side project that he's done. Awesome stuff. I hope he continues on with it. I know some people are super critical of it. They're just saying it's a Typo Negative ripoff, but I think it's phenomenal. So, Neon Nightmare with Faded Dream at number 2. $20 Spin. And then finally, the last one probably needs absolutely no introduction. That is right, Judas Priest with Invincible Force. This is one of my all-time favorite metal bands, just bands as a whole. So this is their 16th, right, full-length album on Epic. I think it's 16th. Pretty sure. I pulled that off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 14, 15, 16, 17. No, 19th. I don't know why I said 16. Anyway, ignore me. I have 16th written down on my nose, and I'm not too sure why I wrote that, but I know I should have just known it was 19. Anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole, but Invincible Force, incredible album. Judas Priest is back after however many years from their last full length, which was a 2018 with Firepower, which I really enjoyed that, and I also really enjoyed Redeemer of Souls from 2014. I think Nostradamus is probably one of my the weaker in the discography, but I just still listen to it quite a bit. Anyway, one of my all-time favorite bands, one of the few bands I own every single album, and this album is phenomenal. Rob Halford's voice is not aging whatsoever. He sounds absolutely massive on this. Production obviously is incredible. The guitar riffs, just everything about this album is so good. The Serpent and the King is probably one of my favorite songs on here, as well as God is My Witness. One of the things that I didn't expect to love as much as I did, but just everything about this album is simply phenomenal. So yeah, this came out very early in the year. I remember being very excited about it. I posted a video talking about it, and just, yeah, I love Judas Priest. So this is easily my number one heavy metal album of the year, and just metal album of the year probably as a whole over everything. I've listened to this the most out of all of death metal, black metal, thrash, whatever else. I'm just, yeah, I don't think I need to say anything else about it. It's an incredible album. I definitely didn't bring it up on Heavy Metallurgy because I assumed everybody else was going to talk about it, but nobody did. And then I was like, well, shit, I probably should have talked about it. But I stayed more of my death metal and black metal on that channel because that's what everybody knows me as. But yeah, Invisible Shield, Judas Priest, incredible stuff. So that's it. That is my final year-end list of 2024. Thank you guys for all the support this year. It has been incredible. Now this power metal wave that I'm in, not going to be so much of that in 2025. Don't worry, I'm not going to be like only showing that off. Every once in a while I might do a little bit of a focus on it. But it was fun to get into that this year. So there's my dog barking. So it's a good time to end this video. I am probably going to release one more video today. Just doing a little mini video just to show off something I got in the mail that I really, really want to talk about. But for the most part, this is my final video of 2024. I will be back in 2025. The channel's not going anywhere. But thank you guys so much for all the support. And I will see you in the next year.